And we're back. Excellent. So let's get on to it. So the Switch, everybody's, almost everybody's favorite console of recent times, right? So Switch 2 predicted to arrive in 2024 with a price point of $400. And this is American because it's written by an American. Kat Bailey, I assume they're American. Don't be offended or cancel me because I assumed you were from America and not Canada or something or whatever. So this was updated as of January 4th of this year. So it's quite current. So, all right, I've let everybody know where their source is from. Let's go. So Nintendo Switch 2 seems likely to release for $400. That's quite high, right? If you equate that to Aussie dollary dues, that's probably going to be close to $1,000, right? $800, $900 on a good day. That's quite high. So I'm already going, yikes. What's this going to be capable of, right? When you look at the Lenovo Go or the Steam Deck Pro or whatever it's called, the new one, when you look at those machines, you go, okay, they're about $1,000 or over $1,000 plus, right? $1,500 for Lenovo Go here for the base model. And I've been eyeing that off actually. I'm like, well, I know I can't justify that, but I want it. So I'm going to keep that tab open, wishing for this luxury item. So, I mean, Nintendo, yes, they have some of the best IP in the business, so they could probably command that for the diehards, right? But there's a quote here. The time is finally here for a Switch successor. Even though I can say a Pro model actually did exist and certain developers were already working with the dev kit, Toto wrote, I believe the next hardware will drop next year for $400. American. There is a high chance that games will cost more to, $70. Jesus. That's $70 American. So we're looking easily at like $120 here in Australia. Awesome. Can't wait. The next system is also likely to be an iteration rather than a revolution. I'm happy to hear about that. I know a lot of people are saying, I don't want just a Nintendo Switch 2. I want, something weird and wacky like Nintendo always do. But I think we're past that, right? I think everybody can kind of agree that we're kind of past that, right? Those gimmicks, the era of gimmicks, I think we're done with that, right? Are we? I know I am. And I think most people are. Like when you look at kids are playing with tablets and phones, mobile phones, right? So it would behoove Nintendo to try and capture that audience with something completely different, right? When they could just do cash money very easily and go, all right, you love the Switch, right? It's one of the highest selling consoles of all time. What we're going to do is, and I hope this is what happens, what we're going to do is we're going to make it backwards compatible digitally and physically with the original Switch, but it's going to be 2 or 3 times more powerful or whatever it is, right? And it's going to have better games on it. All your new games are going to be there. You've got an instant massive library. So you can pick up our new console that's much more powerful and efficient and whatever you want to call it. And you don't miss a beat, right? All your games will come with you, right? Cut fucking ching, right? God damn it. To me, that is just so logical, right? And I know I'm not the only one out there that thinks that way, right? And I know there's people out there that just think that's boring, and I don't care to hear your opinion. I'm kidding. I just don't agree with that opinion, right? I think Nintendo, I think they need to just chill for a bit, right? All those people that used to work at Nintendo, some of them are still there, right? But those who are really pushing for every generation needs to be something new. Everything needs to be a revolution, as they say. I think we're done with that, right? There's only so much you can do, right? The Switch being the absolute success that it has been, being able to bring that hybrid model to everybody's living rooms, everybody's life, right? In such a compact fashion, with the litany of games that Nintendo has at their disposal, to alienate their install base, much like they did with the Wii U and much like they did with the Wii, even though that was a wildly successful console, but for the wrong reasons, right? The hardcore weren't there. The hardcore weren't there for it. And we got a bloat of shovelware and shelfware that, people were trying to cash in, right, on just easy party games, right? Where the rest of us kind of checked out at that point. Meanwhile, our grannies and grandpas are still playing Nintendo Wii sports bowling and tennis. So anyway, ranting aside, but look, I mean, if I could get a Nintendo console powerful enough to run a Pokemon Scarlet Violet type game that doesn't just crap itself trying to run, right? I know there's a lot more to be said there, that this could be the engine of the game, the developer not optimizing for the console well, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I'm aware of that. Yes, I'm aware there's games on the Switch that can truly show and display what the Switch is capable of. But I think we've gotten to the point, well past the point, that there's some developers out there that have got everything they can out of that machine, right? And I think the next Pokemon game cannot have the same suffrage that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet did. I still love that game. I still have that in one of my all-time best experiences in my life, gaming. My wife and I played that together. It was our first game we played together after we got married, and we were on honeymoon, and we played that game together, and I've got the steelbook and all that kind of stuff. It's got a special place to me. But my God, did that game run like dog shit, right? They for a massive game like Pokemon to have that and have the news articles coming out saying people are returning it, right? Because this is running like crap and it's not optimized, and not every developer is capable of optimizing, right? But if they have a machine that can do a lot of the overhead for them, right, and make the game perform, that's also valuable, right? Anyway, I just went on a massive tangent there, but look, I think, and you probably read some of this article while I was on my diatribe, but I think if the Switch 2 comes out this year, it's well overdue, right? Well overdue. We haven't heard anything official, right? I know there's people on Twitter every day saying, my uncle's friend works at Nintendo and they say it's coming out in November 15th and it's going to be white or something like that, right? And it's going to look like a more polished Switch, or if you look at the Lenovo Go or Steam Deck, it'll have a similar kind of form factor and a bigger screen. Someone's going to say that kind of crap on Twitter and people are going to eat it up because they just want to know. Like, they're thirsty and hungry for the next Switch, right? I love the Switch, right? I think it's one of the best consoles ever, right? Probably not for the hardware, but just because of what it is, right? What it did for gaming, and it had some really amazing games come out of that machine, right? It's Nintendo consoles are pretty much essentially now, just for me, my Mario simulator, right? Pretty much every game I've got is a Mario game on the Switch, right? If not, it's my retro machine, or I buy some of the 8 or 16-bit or 32-bit games, the newer ones that are coming out, like Touchdown or Panzer Paladin, that kind of stuff. The new Double Dragon or the new Sonic games, like the 2D ones, Sonic Mania and Origins Plus, those kind of games where it feels right. So it's just weird. Shovel Knight, like those kind of games, it just feels right playing it on the Switch. I can't explain it. Whereas when I go play it on my Xbox Series X, it's cool. Like, the colors are better. Undoubtedly, the colors are better, and it's 4K, right? And the sound's better. Everything literally is better about playing it on the Xbox Series X or any Xbox console for that matter. But there's just something about the Switch that just feels right to play those kind of games, right? It's just weird. I can't explain it. But look, will I be there day one for a Switch 2? Probably not. It just depends. Depends what the launch lineup is like, right? I'm always there day one for Xbox. Everybody, I'm wearing the hat. I'd be contradictory if I said anything else. But Switch, I'm a fan of it. I love Nintendo. If I had to put my scale on for 1 to 3 for the big three, it'd be Xbox, Nintendo, then PlayStation at number 3 as my console preference. Anyway, I really enjoyed the 3DS, as it mentions here in this article. It sounds like this will be closer to the Nintendo 3DS situation, which just built on the success of the 3DS, and that's the smart play, right? I jumped in at the 3DS, right? And then I traded that in and got a new 3DS XL, right? So people like myself already have that experience, right? And even new kids, they don't have that. They probably weren't born then. But new kids, when they're like, oh, Switch 2, I kind of grew up with my brother's hand-me-down Switch or whatever when he moved on to the PlayStation or Xbox. So they'll see this new Switch 2 come out and go, oh my God, that's my thing, right? So there's a lot of reasons why they should just follow under the success, right? Now, what does that mean for the highest console sold story, right? If Nintendo releases another iteration of the Switch, right, and that sells another 10, 20 million units, does that then mean the Nintendo Switch, right? I'm holding my camera lens cap. Does that mean, for the visual listeners here, watchers, whatever you call it, does that mean that the Nintendo Switch itself is still ongoing, or is this going to be called something new, right? So if it's Nintendo, I don't know, Swap, I don't know, something's not Switch, just for painting a picture here. If it's Nintendo Swap, right, so that console count goes back down to 0, right, and goes 1 to a million to 10 million. Can it get to 100 million again? Or do they just go, all right, it's new Nintendo Switch, right, or Nintendo Switch Pro, and it goes, bang, another 50 million units, cool. Nintendo Switch can now claim the title of the most selling console of all time, right? And just that whole perception out there that Nintendo will have is valuable, right? So anyway, that's going into the I'm getting into some insight there, and that's a whole other topic, but it's very interesting, right? I'm very interested to see where this goes, because there's a lot that can happen this year. And last year, 2023, was really amazing for video games. There were so many great games that came out, most of which I haven't had much time to play, but I'm working through what I can. So, yes, I'm still going to be interested in video games. Video games is, if I could quit work tomorrow, that's all I'd be doing is making comic books, my own comic books, and playing games, right? And gaming is the best art form out there. I love film, but video games is something you all know that. If you play video games, you understand. I don't need to explain how special video games are. There's something else, and I just can't wait to see the successes of the new year. And if you want, okay, one last question. If you want to ask me what would I like to see in 2024? Okay, I'd like to see the death of live service games. I would like to see the death of battle royale games. I would like to see the death of always online games, right? None of them, there's only a handful left that are still relevant, and the ones that are still holding on, making their money, they're on their way out too, right? And every new one that comes out dies. So again, it's like the Star Wars franchise. When will you get the message, right? I know that the gaming industry is usually behind the times, right? Because by the time you make a game, you're 3 years too late, right? 3 to 5 years too late, depending on your development time, right? So if you've spent 3 years, because at the moment zeitgeist was, hey, this is the kind of game everybody likes, let's make one of those. But a lot can change in 3 years, right? Everyone doesn't like that type of game anymore, and you've got this game that nobody wants, right? It's too much of a risk, particularly when you see so many come and die between that time frame. So I hope we go back to more like Nintendo does. I love what Nintendo does, right? They make their games. It's the game. Everything you need for the game, essentially almost, comes with the game, right? It's its own experience. It's just like how games have always been. Well, way back when, you get the game, that's the game. You don't need any of this other crap, right? You have the experience that the game is. And I'd love to see what PlayStation and Xbox could do returning to that mind frame of not having everything needing to be multiplayer focused or online focused. Let's give us more high quality single player experiences. Even some of the AA stuff, right? The middle of the ground type games, like, I don't know. What's that? Popcorn chainsaw? No, what's it called? Chainsaw cheerleader. I can't remember what it's called, but that kind of era where there's a lot of these middle of the way of AA kind of still janky but really enjoyable. Shadow of the Damned was another one. I don't know, like Hulk Ultimate Destruction, or those kind of games where I would love to see more of those, right? The original Xbox PS2 generation and 360 and PS3 generation had a lot of those action platformer games or action adventure games where you could just go start to finish. I like Darksiders, Darksiders 1 and 2 in particular, right? Oh man, I love that. Oh, I'd love more of that, right? That stuff that you can keep and put in your shelf or in your digital library. That's a whole other discussion. Maybe we'll get into next week. But that stuff that you can just go, yeah, you know what? And you could just remember that game and the good times you had with it. Just going through a good story and an adventure with a world that was built for you to experience, and not having to worry about, I don't know, just having to worry about online crap. I'm over it. So I hope Nintendo keep doing what they're doing, right? I don't want them to go down this online space. Like, I think they're aware. Nintendo seem to be, unbeknownst to everyone else, they seem to be just aware, right, ahead of the curve on some stuff before we even realize it, right? Very smart. Anyway, cool. I'm losing my voice here because it's quite hot in this room, and I've been talking almost nonstop for an hour. So let's wrap this up, right? And let's get on to the evening. It's Friday night. Yeah, boy.